Hey there, how's it going? Red here. This is the other drawing I made for the month of November. It's actually the first one I made. I don't know why I published that one first. But for weeks started back in October, I didn't really know what I was gonna make, so I just went back to something that I felt more comfortable making, which is like a landscape in ink. And trees have been a massive part of my art portfolio for the past 7 years. I remember being impressed by how you can draw trees back when I was in elementary school. We'd visit one of my mom's friends, and her daughter showed me this drawing that she had made with a bush and a tree. I was really impressed by that. So once I started getting more comfortable with drawing, trees were a big thing that I really wanted to get good at drawing. I haven't kept in touch with that person. It's been so long ago that I don't think I'd recognize them if I saw them. But well, there's this place that I've gone to, and I sort of like drawing, and so that's what I'm gonna be drawing today. It's gonna be a tree by a shore during a sunset. A lot of this felt quite familiar since it's what I've been doing for such a long time, so even though it was my first time doing a full quote-unquote ink drawing in digital format, it didn't feel too odd for the most part. I was really hoping that one of the brushes would feel like my pens, but they just don't. For the most part, it's fine, but it would have been nice to have more control over what's drawn, and at least with like the digital format, I get the control Z and like other digital tools, so it's kind of a decent trade-off. Even though I was just talking about how familiar this feels, it also came with the familiar feeling of not really knowing how to tackle some very common things like leaves. Early on, I really tried avoiding drawing that. I never knew if I should make them detailed or basic, and I also couldn't find a good mixture of both, so having avoided them eventually did come back to bite me. I was working for this thing where I was really only in it because it gave me an opportunity to talk to people that I wasn't too familiar with in a controlled environment, and because I could also make a lot of drawings and it'd be showcased to a broader audience. Well, it wasn't like drawing like this, it's more like graphics, so it was holiday season. I was tasked with making one of those like Hanukkah candles in the shape of a tree. Or it was my idea to making a tree, but either way, that's what I was gonna make. So I finished it. It doesn't take too long, but it's detailed in black and white. I turn in my work, and to my surprise, it gets rejected, get pulled aside, and they tell me that we can't show this. How would you feel if your holiday was portrayed by such a dead-looking tree? I knew there wasn't really a right option besides complying, but I still said I don't think I'd mind. And I think he said, well, that might be a problem, but I don't remember too well. He did tell me after that someone's going to be assigned to look over my future art, over its creation, so that it would be fit for publication. I offered to make changes so that it'd be more lively. It wouldn't have been a big problem either. They said no, but I went ahead and made the changes so that I knew I could turn it around for the better. I come in the following day, show my work, and I was told the people who needed it got things sorted out. But after talking to that group, they said that they did not, and were unsure why that decision was made, and by the end of the project, it did look unfinished. But after that, I was definitely left with a sour taste in my mouth. Making art was like one of the main reasons I stuck around, and if I couldn't do that, I was like, why should I stay? I don't know for how much longer I stayed after that, but I did move on to something else eventually. I got really sidetracked with that story. It's just something I still think about here and there, kind of just left wondering why another artist was under that same framework. But anyways, one of the other things that I had to work on for this was the grass. To this day, I never know how I want to approach it. It's, like, I definitely kind of know how to make it, but I just feel unsure which way I should. Here I tried something a little different. It was more like a scribble that would span across the whole screen. Sand is something else also gave a shot at. I think it turned out fine, but more experimentation would be required. And I don't know why, but the sky is something I'm always struggling to represent. I wanted to try something similar, what I did for my wishful thinking drawing, but I just wasn't feeling it too much for this one, so I opted for doing like the lines coming out of the sun. My first attempt was way too dark, it kind of looked like the ocean, so I reduced the intensity and it looked good, but yeah, that's pretty much the whole drawing process for this drawing. A video idea I really want to try out is that you guys give me drawing prompts and I'll try my best to draw them. I don't know if it's gonna work, but it's just something I wanted to try, so if you have any ideas, leave them in the comments and I'll try to make it into my next video. I'm also working on a gouache video. Actually, by the time I'm recording the audio, I've already finished the painting. I'm just like getting onto the editing part. But it's another one that's like supposed to be in the style of Ivan Seal. Like it's supposed to be something that you can see being in the Caretaker albums. So yeah, I took my time with it. I tried my best to get an understanding of how he used like colors, and I think it turned out good. So that's something you can expect hopefully before December starts or the week of December. In the past few months, I've made a habit of working out. I have been somewhat successful at that. I have a friend who would go to the gym with his friends, so I decided to tag along for a few weeks. I felt very awkward at first, even now I still think like I don't really know what I'm doing, but it was fun going with them. I got another friend to go with me as well for some time, but it's just been me lately. Before I started going, I somewhat had muscle. I don't know how. I didn't work out. I just did my job and played games. I did carry a lot of plates there, but it wasn't really that much. But I have gained a bit more muscle mass since then. I think that was back in August when I first started going. Then I took a little bit of a break in September. But it's been nice. I mostly just keep an eye out on my diet. I just don't really know what I should eat. But the holiday season is coming, so I'm feeling like it might get more packed than it used to be. So I might have to look for like an alternative for the meantime. A few videos ago, I talked about Victoria 3 being like one of my anticipated games for this year, and it came out last month. I started playing it, I played a little bit of the second installation, and a few hours in, I could just tell this game was lacking a lot, and I think it's really bad that a new player to the series could notice. Fortunately, I couldn't return the game, otherwise I would, and I regret returning the other game because I hear it's more complex, but I'd rather have that than have a really bland game, and so, yeah. I think converting an EU4 save to a Victoria 3 save might also be a bit of a struggle, but I'm not really sure. I'm not a modder. But I mostly say that because the county sizes in Victoria are just so much bigger than they are in the rest of the games. This month I started Crusader Kings 2 campaign, and even though I was just talking trash about Vic 3, I'd still like to do my campaign. I start as Charlemagne, the King of West Francia, and I eventually become the Emperor who dies and leaves his 6-year-old Pepin III to be the new Emperor. And so I still wasn't too strong by then, and there was like this faction that was wanting to put like either my cousin or my aunt as the Empress, and so because I'm not too strong, I actually arrest my aunt and then I cap her stoned to death. Yep, a 6-year-old killed his family member. Of course my vassals didn't like that, which led to more conflict, but at least I was able to stay as the Emperor. Later in his life, Emperor Pepin III became known as the Black because he led to kill 60 people. He was so vile that his descendants were disliked just that little bit more, just because they're related to this guy. For the first half of next month, I'm actually going to be traveling. I want to take like some time to make some art there, record some of the things I've seen there, because there's some really interesting things. Like there's this bridge that's kind of like torn down that I kind of want to draw. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to record anything. It's kind of a struggle for me to record outside, and especially since I wouldn't feel too comfortable like carrying all that luggage. But yeah, I'm going to try to make some art there, so hopefully make some videos. Also wanted to mention here that this drawing that you're currently seeing is going to be up for sale on my Etsy store, and even though I'm going to be traveling, I'll still be able to fulfill my orders. So yeah, if you'd like to support this channel, that's something I can do. The link will be in the description of the video. One day, I don't remember what I was doing, but I drew something that was so... well, it was very different from what I normally draw. It was like an abomination, but not like in the sense I normally use. It kind of looked like the art that you'd see spray painted on the side of a building, but it was like this eye with like some weird wings attached to it. I called it an angel in French. I really don't remember what I was thinking when I made it, but I completely forgot about it until I opened the sketchbook up. I do kind of want to give it a try just to see how the finished product would be, but I just wanted to let you know since it's such a weird thing that I drew back then. Surrounding it, there were also like some of my attempts at drawing an anglerfish. I really want to make that drawing for this month, but I just couldn't for the life of me figure out how I want to draw it. I did sort of mess around with the idea that it would be made of like a bunch of little triangles. I even tried the isometric tool on Procreate just so that could help me out with that, but it just didn't really feel right. I'm sure I'll tackle it at a later point because I really do want to try to make that, but for now, it's just an idea in the backlog. Anyways, thanks again for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like, and if you want to see more, subscribe. I'm hoping to have 2 more videos by next week. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to keep that promise, but it's something I want to try. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.